Welcome to another episode of Presence Practice with Poonam and Parker. Hello, Poonam. Today we're going to discuss allowing the diminishment of form. Eckhart often asks ourselves to ask, what is really being diminished here? The play of forms, the dream, the coming and going, labeling this good, this bad, having opinions about things, right? All of this narrows our experience of being human beings. So allowing the diminishment of form allows for us to have a much deeper understanding, a much deeper realization about who we really are without the story. Sometimes Eckhart will talk about when we start to have these spiritual spaces, this freedom from all of these identifications, or that lightness feels so good. And sometimes the ego wants to take a trip on that too and talk about a specialness, or wants to relive the experience, so sitting in the past. So we can ask ourselves and be grateful when we come against these edges where we are able to see clearly our patterns of unconsciousness and where we may be identified with a role, with how we look, with what we do for a living, with our reputation, with whether we're playing that, are we playing that game of being superior or inferior in any role in our life, in this story that we're telling. To bring some levity, some lightness. Sometimes when we are seeing our own insanity, just very, very, very funny to see how it just makes absolutely no sense, how confused and tumbling the chaos is of a chewing mind that wants to chew on some diminishment. We age and our bodies and all of our senses start to diminish. What a beautiful opportunity it is for us to sit so deeply in our skin, in the present moment, where nothing can diminish what exists there in the present moment and right now. An equal question on the other thing is, can we the same reaction if there's an inflation of form? Are we able to disidentify with that as well? Someone has blown up a big version of who they think you might be based on personality and their experiences. Can we let go of that too? So and by letting go, by dropping it, dropping the story, what I'm really saying is to just sit in your skin exactly as life appears and see where you can feel the seductive pull of a story and know that that's where liberation happens, right on that edge, and that nothing is out of order. If you have money, if you have no money, if you have a home or no home, It's all of those are just stories all along. And that this life, it's just we move from one situation to the next situation. And if we move through it deeply rooted in the present moment, then it doesn't really matter what happens. There's no diminishment at all. We recognize it deeply, completely at peace, grateful for things exactly as they are. There's no why me. It's a maturing of a human being in this evolution, evolving form. Loss, to be able to drop things as soon as they're lost, as soon as they're gone, to be able to move fluidly, to be so rooted in your body that you're not clinging to a person or a situation or a role, and you're able to just move because you're deeply rooted in who you are, which is beyond all of that. And then for me, it seems like the road is not rocky. It's just change. It's a much cleaner experience than an unconscious drama that's involved oftentimes with loss or diminishment. What do you want to add anything to this, Poonam?
The only thing I got reminded of when you were talking about on the other side, when there's an inflation, um, I think in The Power of Now, Eckhart says that there's no one going, yay, I did it. Because in that, when we are that connected to our consciousness,
Yeah.
we are aware that it is the one consciousness expressing itself through that form. Eckhart didn't do it, or Dr. Deepak Chopra didn't do it, Dr. Wayne Dyer didn't do it. It's that one consciousness expressing itself through that forum. So don't take credit for it. And I remember the story that Oprah tells him, that when she called him and said, hey, I want to do a webcast with you for A New Earth, and this is about to, like, where when he asked for acceleration, this is about to launch him into
Mm-hmm.
like the millions of copies, and launch him out into the planet. He just said thank you. He didn't say, yay, Oprah, call me, and jump around. Or all he said was, and she repeats it, that he said thank you when Oprah called him. So that's exemplary, of what, he doesn't just like say things, he walks the talk. Or is that what the phrase is? He actually does what he speaks of. And this reminds me about, in his talk, You Are the Sky, he says, nothing in the world of form will ever satisfy you. The world of form is meant to frustrate you until you're awakened. Once you're awakened, the world of form is pleasant. And so he brings up that he loves watches. I think him and the Dalai Lama love the expensive $10,000 watches. But he says if it gets lost, it's not going to make, I am not that watch, right? He doesn't derive his sense of identity from owning that watch. He loves the tick, 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 the watches that the person has gone in and put the hand and every little mechanism, right? Taken hours of precision, of mindfulness, and put the watch together. He appreciates the presence in the watch, but he says, I don't care if it's lost the next day. The same thing in, I think in Awakening Through Loss, he talks about, if I was in a trailer right? Sitting outside the trailer, I would just feel the breeze. So he's very, he's okay with, let me lose the world and I'm okay with it,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. And also those stories are kind of keep us locked uh, into that track. It's like an unconscious track creating a pattern as it goes, like a train going through. So, not my will, but thy will be done. We could not possibly understand the reason why something is taken away from obviously it's done and maybe we've outgrown it, maybe it's time for a new experience, but let's get out of the way and stop interpreting everything as a diminishment or taking how other people are seeing in ourselves. This is a mad world that we're living in, and when it doesn't feel like it is supportive and kind and loving as an impulse coming to you, then just drop it. So just let it pass right through you, and you can experience the great spaciousness of not knowing and being okay with not knowing, and not scramble and seek and grasp to know what is coming next. And it's a beautiful example over and over again of Eckhart in his moments of surrender, having these beautiful breakthroughs. And I hear about this from people all over the world that have these beautiful breakthroughs when they surrender completely to not knowing and not needing to know. So we accept the facts of the situation and not the story. We we just see it as a story and maybe laugh at it and know that whatever is coming next for you is on its way and requires no extra thought from you for that to unfold. Thank you.